on my
I don't
phone.
like how it makes us so small and this meaningless.
I'm gonna come back to it, man. All right, we're live. We're gonna make sure first that everything's good. All right, we're live. We're gonna make sure first that. Hey, that looks good on YouTube. I gotta share this out though. Make sure you go ahead and share it out to Facebook, YouTube. Hey, that looks good on YouTube. This looks good so far. I suck at this as far as sharing. All right, so I shared that out. So I think we're good to go now. All right, so, shared that out. Ooh, I gotta. So I think we're good to go now. All right, shared that out. Mm-hmm. All right, YouTube. So as you get ready to stream through here and find yourself in here, we're getting ready to talk about YouTube. We got a couple games to preview. We're talking about the Tennessee Titans and their big matchup against the Indianapolis Colts this week, and then we've got a big matchup between the Vanderbilt Commodores at Knoxville as they play that ugly orange team. For the life of me, I cannot think of who they're playing. Coach Flatt, do you know who they're playing this week?
You know who they're playing.
What?
Sure.
Say that again.
They're playing Big Brother. You know that.
Did you say Big Brother? Big Brother's lost 3 years in a row, though.
Yep. Sometimes little bro gets you. You know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But anyway, so we're going to start out with, we've got it up here on the big board here. We're going to start out with the Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts. The Titans have a big chance. Coach Flatt's coming in with the huge comment to start. Where's Mike? We've got a big fan of Coach Flatt. His name's Mike E on YouTube. We'd love to have him back. Love to get him in the discussion because that'd be a great conversation. You know, that'd be a great conversation to start us out. But anyways, we're going to get started. Tennessee Titans are at the Indianapolis Colts this week, and when you talk about history of this matchup, it has not been good for the Tennessee Titans because the Colts have had their, what would you want to say? They have had their number for quite some time now. And you would think a lot of that's got to do with Andrew Luck, but this is an Andrew Luck-less team. They now have Jacoby Brissett, and that really hasn't changed anything. Jacoby Brissett gets the Tennessee Titans earlier in the year, so they've got to prove to a lot of people that they are ready to be a contender in the AFC South, and the only way that they're a contender in the AFC South is if they can go to Indianapolis and get a big win, because I don't see any way, shape, or form that the Tennessee Titans can compete in this division if they go to Indianapolis and lose this week. So we're going to give Coach Flatt the floor. Coach Flatt, what's your first initial thoughts when it comes to talking about this game coming up Sunday?
Yeah, I think you're right. The Titans, haven't had much success against Indianapolis. Like you mentioned earlier, first matchup of the year, they lost the game 19-17. I was at the game. Could have gone either way, but it was a game where I didn't think Mariota played that poorly. He actually, it was a game, if you guys remember, He threw the touchdown pass, but it was about a foot over the line of scrimmage when he threw it. It got called back. They ended up missing a field goal on that drive. They missed that was the Cairo Santo game, I believe, where he missed all the field goals. But yeah, I mean the Titans were right there. Brissett didn't kill him. He was 17 of 28 for 146 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. But he did enough when he had to do it to win the game. Mariota was 19 of 28 for 154 yards and a touchdown. I think the key was Derrick Henry had 82 yards on 15 carries in that first game. Like to see him get more to the 20-22 touch range this game and see if they can get behind him and see if they can get some offense going with Derrick Henry, of course, and hopefully Ryan Tannehill can give him more than Mariota gave the team in that first matchup, just scoring 17 points there.
Yeah, so when it comes to this Tennessee Titans and Colts game, Coach Flatt, what has to happen for the Tennessee Titans to be successful as far as going into Indianapolis and giving them the best chance to win this football game?
Well, you're looking at, arguably the best offensive line in football. So you've got to be able to do something up front defensively, bring some 5-6 man pressures against that front and see if you can disrupt this Colts offense. If you can hold them to 19 points or somewhere around there like they did in the first matchup, I think the Titans have a great chance to win the game. But you have to go up there in Indianapolis, control the clock, and the old adage, win the turnover game. And I think that gives the Titans a great chance to win. I think they have the better quarterback, and I think they have the better defense. But that offensive line for Indianapolis is really good, and it's made a otherwise average offense into a pretty good offense this year. And then defensively, the Colts are very underrated as well. I mean, this is a game that the Titans absolutely have to win if they're going to win this division. They can't drop both of the games to the Colts if they want to win the AFC South.
I do believe I've seen some, as far as breaking news is concerned, as far as I think I've seen where Marlon Mack, that came out today or yesterday, said that he's going to be out for this game. So the Colts starting running back's not going to be in this game. But I do think I've seen some stuff go down that's came out, and maybe you can confirm this, Coach Flatt, but I'm hearing some rumblings that Delanie Walker and Cameron Wake were placed on IR today. Have you heard anything about that? If so, or if this is the first time you're hearing about it, what's your takeaway as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Jonnu Smith, in the first conversation that we had about the Titans earlier in the week and how pivotal he's been. And if Delanie is out for an extended period of time, then they will have to join. They will have to lean a little bit more heavily on Jonnu, and I think he's very capable. We had a member in the chat mention that they thought one of the best ways for the Titans to be able to clear up some cap space this year would be to let Delanie Walker go after the season to clear up some cap space and rely on Jonnu.
Yeah, and you might see that too.
Yeah, and I think you easily could. So this gives Jonnu Smith the opportunity to prove for the remainder of this season that he's a viable option and that the Titans can take that step and rely on him going forward. As far as Cameron Wake, Harold Landry, we talked about earlier in the week, has been really good off the edge. Quite frankly, he's been better when Cameron Wake's been in there, giving teams, more than one guy to think about off the edge. So We'll see if Harold Landry can continue his production without Cameron Wake in there. But yeah, 2 big losses for the Titans, no doubt about it.
I did think that Cameron Wake has been very underrated. I thought he started out the year really well, but has been quiet as of late, but I still think he's been very underrated. So that's going to be a big loss. Taylor Smith comes in with the confirmation. It is true. Wake and Walker are on IR. So that's some big news. Titans, I mean, have been bit by the injury bug as of late. They got much healthier this past week, and from all the reports I was reading and hearing about, I thought Delaney Walker was very close to coming back and rejoining this team. And we talked about just a couple of days ago about the thought of that, using Delaney Walker and a Jonnu Smith looked really appealing to this team. But I don't know. I guess whether it was a setback or just kind of, fool's gold, but apparently Delaney's just not healthy enough. So that's a big one. As far as the Derrick Henry to the Indianapolis Colts matchup, what do you think as far as do we think that Derrick Henry can get the ball rolling? Because I think if all of a sudden Derrick Henry gets shut down, all of a sudden what does this team look like? Because I do think Ryan Tannehill looks a lot better when the run game's going. I don't think we've seen him yet in a game where the run game has been completely shut down. So what's your thoughts on that?
The Colts don't have one of the better run defenses in the league. It was a little bit better than it was to start the year now. But I think that they definitely can have some success running the ball against this team. And, hopefully Derrick Henry can continue the hot pace that he's on and have a finish to this season the way that he did last season. Taylor Smith asked if the Titans are able to beat the Colts. Do you believe the Titans can make the playoffs? Absolutely. I mean, this team's at 6-5 right now. A win gets them to 7-5, and a split against the Colts, which have been hard to come by over the last couple of years. This is a game that is pivotal. I think if you lose this game, then your chances of making the playoffs are very, very slim. But I think if you win, you start to look ahead and see the pathway to the playoffs. And it's going to go through those two matchups at the end of the year with the Texans, in my opinion. So, yeah, absolutely. They're right there in the thick of it. A loss would be very, very tough to come back from. But a win, and they keep pace, and they're right there for the playoffs.
I agree.
They have to get Henry going to win on Sunday, and I agree with that too.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, you go based on the past few games, I don't think that's going to be an issue when you think of the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, they've got a very solid defense, but I don't think it jumps out on paper as far as being one of the best run stopping. I don't have that stat up right now. Maybe Coach Flatt can find that stat, but I don't think they're one of the best run stopping defense out there. I may be wrong on that, but I do think the Titans can get Derrick Henry. So here's my question to you.
The Colts in the first month of the year were actually in the mid-20s in rushing yards allowed per game, but they're up to 9th. So they're, like I said, they're doing a lot better job in the last month or so at stopping the run, averaging 97 rushing yards a game. But then in the last 3 games, they're second in the NFL, averaging 66 rushing yards a game in the last 3 weeks.
Okay. All right. So here's the next question that I'm going to throw out there. If Derrick Henry gets held to 40 to 50 yards rushing, do the Titans win this game? And if so, how do they?
If Derrick Henry gets held in check, around that 40 to 60 yard mark, you're going to find out a lot about Ryan Tannehill. So if for the people that think Ryan Tannehill's the franchise quarterback and they need to extend his contract and everything, let's see if he can do it without a running game. Eventually, whether it's this week or one of the following weeks going down the stretch of this season, he's probably going to have to shoulder the offense. He hasn't really had to do that yet. He's made plays when he's needed to make them. He's made far more plays than Mariota did to start the season. There's no doubt about that. But he has not had to be a quarterback that goes out and puts the offense on his shoulders and carries them down. Like, for instance, carried them to a touchdown drive. Defense gives up a touchdown, and he carries them to another touchdown drive. He hasn't done anything like that, which most of the franchise quarterbacks in the league are able to do at times when they need to. So I'd be interested to see if Tannehill was able to do that. And thus far, with what he's shown when he's been in there, there's no reason to believe that he can't. He just hasn't proven it yet, and hasn't had to because Derrick Henry's been so good, and the offensive line's been so much better since Tannehill's been inserted into the lineup.
Okay, we got Cleet Nippa from he's actually from Texas, but he's a big Tennessee Titans fan. He followed them ever since, the Houston Oilers. But you've got him. He came in with the comment of you got to feed the man. The man he's talking about is a Derrick Henry. He also comes in with this comment: don't think he's the answer at quarterback. Need to find the one this next draft. I believe that would, as of right now, follow along the lines of your thoughts, Coach Flatt. I think you don't think he's the future, and I don't even think I'm saying he's the future, but I think he might be the immediate future. I think he might be the future for the next 2 or so years. I mean, what would it take for you or for someone like a Cleat to say, you know what, I think he could be the future of the Tennessee Titans? What has to happen in these next few weeks?
Yeah, and I'm not against him being the quarterback, maybe next year. But in order for me to feel comfortable with them retaining him on anything more than a 1-year deal for next year, then the Titans, plain and simple, have to win the AFC South. They're right there. He's got a chance to play everybody in our division for the rest of the year. They beat Jacksonville last week, got Indianapolis this week, still play Houston twice. Win those games. Show me that you can compete against the AFC South. Show me that you're not the fourth best quarterback in our division, and you have a viable chance to be the quarterback going forward. And he says that got to find one in the draft. Of course, a lot easier said than done with where the Titans are going to be picking.
That's the thing.
So the thing is, do you give him a 1-year deal next year and you maybe draft somebody and see if they can be the quarterback? I think it's possible. But the problem with that would be you're not going to draft one this year in the second, third round and then turn around and draft one in the first round next year. So I think that perfect scenario, in my opinion, is they have Ryan Tannehill on a 1-year deal next year and we see how it goes. But I think that might be a pipe dream because I think there's probably a team out there willing to give Tannehill longer than a 1-year deal. My worry, if we give him more than a 1-year deal, a 2 or 3-year deal, is that we get into maybe a Nick Foles situation. I don't think Nick Foles is that great. I don't think Alex Smith was that great with the Chiefs, but they do enough to warrant a contract and an extension. And then, teams kind of catch up to them. They start to play that first year. They're pretty good, and they're winning games and they're putting up numbers. But then going into year 2, year 3, they're not quite as good, and that's my worry with Tannehill as well. Baby.
She looks like she's excited for some Tennessee Titans action. Chase T66 comes in with the comment of Tana Thrill. I've been seeing that go around social media. I agree, man. That he's been fun to watch. He's been, he's been playing with a lot of moxie, like what was his name? Jonathan Moxon off of Varsity Blues, if you ask me. So, all right. So, kind of going as far as for the Tennessee Titans defense are concerned, and then we'll be slowly getting ready to go into our next topic. As always, guys, when you come in here, continue to comment because that will help grow this conversation, and we'll always bring up your comments and we'll hit on those topics as well. Hit that like button, helps grow the stream, and also share it out. Share it out on your social media platforms. That way we can grow this conversation. And then we'll talk about this one. Chase T66 comes in with a comment. Vandy sucks. Appreciate your comment. We'll just hide that right back down. But anyways, kind of, going on the defensive side of the ball, Tennessee Titans against the Indianapolis Colts. What do they have to do to give them the best chance to win as far as shutting down? Who do they have to shut down? What's the key focus needs to be for that defense against the Indianapolis Colts?
I think it comes back to the run game and managing this offensive line like I talked about a little bit earlier. I mean, they're so good up front. They've really been able to control games and just allow Brissett to just have to do enough to not win the game, but not lose it either. And their offense is completely different than it was with Andrew Luck under center. They're more run focused, run oriented now. They're not slinging the ball all over the place like they did with Luck at times. And it fits their offensive line, it fits their personnel. So you see them now in a lot more 12 to 21 personnel. They were in a lot of 10 and 11 with Luck, and it suits their offensive line. They're big, they're nasty, and they run it down your throat. So we'll be able to see what the Titans defensive front can do. The Titans have been very, very good defensively all year long. One of the top 5 defenses in the NFL the entire year. So. But yeah, I think that's the focus for them. Just stop the run game. Maybe if they can be fortunate enough to get out to a lead, and let Brissett have to be able to throw the ball downfield and work those or work past those intermediate routes and down the field a little bit more. I think that gives the Titans a good chance for success.
I agree. Cleat Nippa comes through. He says, "How deep is this next year's quarterback draft class is?"
It's hard to tell. I mean, we're so far away, and this will be something I think that we'll talk about more when the season gets closer to the end or the Titans get closer to elimination. I mean, I think right now what we want to focus on is the Titans being able to win this division and win a wild card. The Titans at 6-5 right now are not in a position where, even though our quarterback situation is a little flaky and we're not sure what the future holds at our quarterback position, we're still in a great position to win this division and win a wild card. So right now, I think we keep the focus on whether or not this team can be in the playoff hunt and going forward. And then if the Titans start to lose some games down the stretch, we'll have plenty of weeks to be able to talk about the draft. But just real quick, the top of the draft, obviously Joe Burrow is going to be, probably the first quarterback off the board, in my opinion. You got Tua Tagovailoa with Alabama. We'll see where he goes after the injury.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. He may come back.
Yeah, quite a few more guys in there, but it's hard to say. It's always hard to say this time of year. You could have the experts say that there's one first-round quarterback right now, and then teams get quarterback hungry and take 4 quarterbacks in the first round. So, as far as the Justin Herberts of the world at Oregon and those guys, I haven't really seen anything to warrant taking them in the first round. But some of the experts disagree. But I think if there's no way and there's not any way that Joe Burrow is going to be a Titan, then you're just kind of wishing and hoping probably if you're the Titans if you're drafting one of those other quarterbacks. So,
yeah, I mean that's the thing. I've been saying it to a lot of people. I think when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, as far as drafting a quarterback this year, you're going to struggle with that one simply because the Titans have so much talent on this roster. They're going to finish at least 8-8, at worst 7-9. So you're talking anywhere from pick 15 to 19, 14 to 19. And a lot of times you don't see a franchise quarterback taken within. But, I mean, also the Titans, I mean, if you want them to have a number 2 pick, I mean, a top 2, top 3 pick, well, the last time we drafted a quarterback with the top 2 pick, he's on your bench right now. And then before that, the last time you took a quarterback with the number 3 overall pick, some people say he was at one of the biggest busts out there as far as Vince Young. So drafting a quarterback really early, the Titans have had their chances at doing that, and it has not paid off for them. So, all right, so about one more question we got as far as for the Tennessee Titans and Colts conversation is concerned before we go into the Tennessee Vols and Vanderbilt discussion. I've got it right here. Who has to stand out on defense for the Tennessee Titans to win on Sunday? Who's that key player that comes to mind?
For me, it's Jarrell Casey this week. If Jarrell Casey can anchor that defensive line and allow Landry and some of those guys off the edge to do what they do best a little bit easier, and clog up some running lanes, and like we talked about earlier, get it to where the Colts are facing third and 7 to third and 12s, for another. So when you look at that, I look at the guys on the interior D line, whether it's Casey or any of those other guys, to be able to clog up the middle, the linebackers to fill those gaps, and shut up the run game, so that the Colts are facing some third and longs for the majority of the game. So
I agree. I think as far as the two defenses are concerned, you're probably going to see the same strategy. The Colts want to, when we show up to the Colts, when the Tennessee Titans show up to the Colts are going to want to shut Derrick Henry down and force Tannehill to win the game. And then I think as far as the Titans, they're going to want to shut that run down and say, okay, Jacoby Brissett, show us what you got. So, all right, so to wrap this one up, projection, we're talking about preview here, so I think this is the time. I know it's still early. It's still Wednesday. Chase T66, before we get to that, he comes in with the comment. He thinks it's Jayon Brown, which, I mean, Jayon has been one heck of a player. You're talking about a guy who I think he was a third or fourth round pick, but, I mean, the dude is a stud. He goes east and west, and, I mean, so he is a big-time player. The Titans just got him back from injury. Without him, they do look a lot different. So I do think he's going to be a key player. Carver Family Fishing comes in with boom, go Titans. So as far as this is concerned, it's Wednesday, still a little early. What's your gut? What's the final score? What's your prediction, Coach Flatt, for the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts, Week 12?
Tennessee Titans 20, Indianapolis Colts 24.
Oh, elaborate. You can go. That's tough.
Simply have to do it for me to believe it. They're in Indianapolis, a place where they haven't had the success. So
True.
I'm going to take a Tennessee Vols, Florida Gators approach. If you're a Kentucky fan, a Kentucky Wildcat and Tennessee Vols approach until they beat them, you don't believe it. So
that's true. I mean,
on paper, I think that the Titans match up pretty well, and they're playing very well. But we've seen in the past this Tennessee Titans team have a very good week, and everybody get really excited, and then they come back down to earth. I'm a little bit worried that happens again this week. So we'll see if they can prove me wrong. I hope they do. It'd be a huge win to get to 7-5. But I'm being pessimistic here.
I hear you. I mean, they got to prove it, kind of just like, in the past 3 years, the Vols haven't beaten Vandy. I mean, at some point they got to prove it, The Tennessee, the Carver Family Fishing comes in with a comment. 24-17. That's what he's predicting, the Tennessee Titans. So when I sit there and I think about this game, I mean, I agree with you. The Tennessee Titans have to prove it. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go with a little bit more of a low scoring. I do think the Titans have scored a lot of points lately, and I just don't know if they can do it for 3 straight weeks. But I do think they squeak this one out. I'm going to give the Titans 20, Indianapolis Colts 14. And, I could see the Colts being up 14-13 or something like that late in the game. And then you might be talking, this time next week, we'll have that post-game reaction, hopefully Sunday night for everybody. But I think we could be talking about another, fourth quarter comeback for Ryan Tannehill. And boy, what that would mean for Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans if we're talking about another Ryan Tannehill fourth quarter comeback at Indianapolis, because I don't think we've seen that in a very long time. We probably haven't seen that since Steve McNair days. So that would be very interesting. All right, so as we get ready to change topics, Chase T66 comes in, and I guess he's suggesting that we should just, stop the show right now, because he says, skip the Vandy and Vols, nothing to talk about. Vols by 1,000, and Vandy still believes in Derek Mason. Well, I don't know if we believe in Derek Mason because you spelled his name like the wide receiver of the Tennessee Titans, Derek Mason. The head coach, Derek Mason, he does spell his name a little bit differently, but we'll go on to our next topic. So let me pull it up here. We're going to go with Tennessee versus Vanderbilt. Tennessee comes in with a big winning streak. They've got 4 wins in a row? Is that correct, Coach Flatt?
4 in a row and 5 of the last 6 for Tennessee.
All right. So
it started out 1-4. Obviously, a rough start to the year. They were 2-5 after the Alabama game. They're at 6-5 and favored by 22 points this week.
22 points this week. I think that is a very high line, but I mean, I don't know what else to say. Chase T comes in with the comment, did Cole just make fun of my spelling? I did. You gave me the opportunity, and I took it because normally that's on the opposite end, so I flat out took it. But yes, and I mean, as Vanderbilt's concerned, I mean, I think we're 3-8. I really don't know. It's been such a bad year. Clee comes in with a good comment here. He says, wow, thought Tennessee shut the program down. Hot take there. But they're getting ready to be in Knoxville. That's the only bad thing about this. I think the house is going to be rocking. Unfortunately, I'll be there. And I don't know. Vanderbilt, I've watched every game so far this year between Vanderbilt and Tennessee. I watched them for both. Tennessee did look very they struggled there. I mean, they got off to a rough start, but they've really, you can tell. And I think it all comes down to this. I think there's a lot of Tennessee fans out there who, for whatever reason, do not like Garantano. And I think without Garantano, I don't know what this team looks like because I think he's finally turned a corner. I've always been a Garantano hater. I think he's had attitude issues, and with that, I've also think he has struggled on the field. But he's turned it around, and I don't want to really say it, but I think Tennessee looks like a different football team with him at quarterback. What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, he had the attitude issue, I guess, early in his career when he was on the sidelines against Georgia Tech. But I think since then, he's been very admirable as far as, how he's gone about his business. I thought last year he was a pretty good quarterback. I thought he was really good. And I thought he was I thought he was ready for a huge year. There's no way around it. To begin this year, he was atrocious. I gave him until pretty much the play at Alabama, until I was out on him, and just when I jumped out, he jumped back in. But when they went to the other quarterbacks this year, he was always the first guy off the bench to congratulate Brian Maurer or JT Shroud or whoever it was in it.
I noticed that. I noticed that.
And Jeremy Pruitt said he continued to have his back and continued to say that he was going to help the Vols win games this year, and he has. But I think that he's really grown up and shown some maturity since his younger in his career, earlier in his career. And, in these last 4 games, he's been outstanding. He's the reason that they beat Missouri last week, throwing for 415 yards. And he's the reason that they beat Kentucky the week before. They go with Brian Maurer to start the game. Not much happening. They make the switch to Garantano, and Garantano comes in and wins that football game. And he's been great. So they're going to go with Garantano again against Vandy, and I expect him to play well again. I expect Tennessee to win the game. But I think that it comes down to this team was so far down that the way that they've turned this season around was not even feasible. I think for a lot of people, could not find a pathway for this team to get to 6 wins. A lot of people couldn't find a pathway to get this team to 5 wins, much less to 6. And now you're talking about maybe going 7-5 if they can get a bowl game. And just hypothetically say they win a bowl game, you're talking about an 8-win season. And I think Jeremy Pruitt and the staff have done a great job just staying the course, and they've done while everybody was out on that football team, everybody within that locker room kept believing, and I think they've done a great job. So we'll see. They can't throw it away against Vandy. They can't overlook Vandy, and I don't think that they will. So look forward to
What?
the game.
As a Vanderbilt fan, I appreciate you saying that because, I mean, what's the old narrative as far as rivalry games are concerned? You got to throw out the records. And I mean, I go back to, I said, I've watched every game for the Vols. I've watched every game for the Vanderbilt Commodores. I'm extremely out on Vanderbilt. They piss me off. I've seen some really horrible weeks where you could honestly say where I feel like the team has quit on their coach. But with that being said, if there's one way to right a lot of wrongs with this Vanderbilt football season, it's to go into Neyland and upset the Vols. And I think that quiets down a lot of fans. I think that cools that seat just a little bit for Derek Mason to go into next year saying, look, this wasn't the year we needed. All right, we're going to fix some things and we're going to come back stronger. Cleet Nippa comes in and says, is Neyland Stadium going to be sold out for this game?
Is he asking me? It's not sold out as that I know of as of right now, but they seat 102,455. I think that they'll, I'd be shocked if they didn't have 95,000 plus in there for this game. It's hard to sell 102,000 tickets to one team, Cleat. It's a little easier when the visiting team will at least buy some of them, but Vanderbilt will probably sell 55 to 60 tickets, and Tennessee will be responsible for the other 102,000. So we'll see if they're able to put 102,000 orange shirts in there, because probably be less than 100 black and gold ones.
Okay. Carol Green comes in with, she said, the longest comment ever, but for whatever reason, it's
Carol
not. What's up?
Carol who?
Carol Carver. Well, right there. I'm sorry. She's literally right behind me. We are newlyweds. But the only reason why I said it is because it shows Carol Green on her YouTube channel. So
I know.
she says the longest comment ever. It for some reason doesn't show up, but I do have the phone right here, and it shows her comment. So we'll be able to talk about this. She goes, won't let me comment, but as a Tennessee fan, I'm always worried because they play to the level of their opponent always. Vandy is still hungry, so it's always tough. However, the Neyland effect is huge in the grand scheme of things. Your wife, Garetano. Still can't stand with the player changes, the play on his own accord, Bama game. When a coach wants something completely different called, MJ saw that in a playoffs a few years ago against Rutherford County team, and what that did. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I get what she's saying about Garetano there and changing the play. That was kind of the last straw, and a lot of Tennessee fans didn't know if we'd ever see Garetano on the field in a Vols uniform again after that. So, but I think the last couple weeks we've seen that he is the best quarterback for this team. He gives them the best chance to win week in and week out. As far as playing to the level of their competition, I think she's right. I think they did that to an extent against Georgia State, but I think a lot of that there were some other factors that went into that as well. As far as BYU, I thought they played better than they did against Georgia State, and then the rest of the season, I thought that they got great. I thought they got great effort from Kentucky. I thought Kentucky played a good game against them, and I thought that Missouri did as well. So hopefully have to find a way to gut it out and get a victory there. So real quick, this is something.
You still there, Coach Flatt? Looks like we're having a few technical issues.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Sorry. Something I'm interested in real quick. I don't know. Hopefully you got all of what I.
Oh, wow. It's been going pretty good so far, but you seem to be cutting out as of late.
All right. What about here I am. What do you think?
Good so far.
Okay, I'll give it one more shot. I'm interested to see what you say about this. Coach Allen says, "What do you expect going to Neyland for the first time ever? We keep telling you it's different, but I don't think you understand."
Okay, so now that I've got the table with this question, I'm sure it's different. I've been used to 34, 35, whatever many seats stadium it is at the Vanderbilt Commodore Stadium. I'm fully expected to bring the boxing gloves because I'm fully expecting the orange and white comments to come out. I just don't know. I don't know if I'm prepared to hear the Rocky Top chants because that's what I fear because I don't think that this Vanderbilt defense is any good. I think if Tannehill is playing to his not Tannehill, Garantano, I think if he's playing the way he should, it could be a very long night for the Vanderbilt Commodores. So it's probably going to be different, but I'm going to be sitting there in my black and gold. There's going to be no conversion happening.
Will you guys be just going to the game? Will you be experiencing the ball walk? I mean,
unfortunately, I have been told we are experiencing the ball walk. I'm sure we will tailgate a little bit. So,
anybody in the comments there that has been to Neyland Stadium think that Coach Carver, after spending his entire coaching career, not only his coaching career in a high school stadium, but also his collegiate fandom career in a high school stadium, anybody think that there is a chance that
what a time to cut out.
Maybe the hatred for Tennessee starts to die down a little bit for Coach Carver? Anybody think?
100% no chance of that. No chance of that. The shots have been fired through my whole life. I've dealt with it. And you can't undo that. You can't undo that. There was a reason why I said it in my vows to my wife on our wedding day that I may never say I will give my all for Tennessee, but I'll give my all for her. I'm not. It's not happening. It's just not happening. Here, real quick before you talk, just want to hit on a couple comments. Minnesota Titan comes in and says, Tanneville, Minnesota Titan, I appreciate you stopping by. We clicked on the topic. We worked on the topic of the Tennessee Titans and Colts. We got through there. Cleet Nippa comes in with the question, does Derek Mason survive if they get beat by Tennessee? If you go based off what the AD come out and said, he's already said he's their coach. I do think he survives. But if they get killed, if it is a massacre, if it is a 35 to 42 point victory, everybody is going to be asking for his head. And I think there's a chance.
All 17 of them.
Might be. I'll be one of them at that point. But I still ultimately don't think they fire him. I just don't. So to answer that question, Carol comes in with a comment. She said, is Keyshawn Vaughn happy that this is his last season at Vanderbilt? Vandy hasn't done him any favors this year, and the Vol walk is awesome. Let the conversion begin. No conversion. Let's just shut that one down real quick. Keyshawn Vaughn, I think he's been very distraught. I think you can see his emotions on the sidelines because I do think Derek Mason really sold him on what another year would be coming back. I also think a Kalajay Lipscomb and the tight end, Jared Pickney. I think especially Jared Pickney because Keyshawn Bond has still had a really good year. He's over 1,000 yards. I think his draft stock, even though a bad year, I think his draft stock has rise. But as far as Jared Pinkney's concerned, I worry about him. I've seen the latest draft projections come out and said that he's still a first-round draft pick. But I think there's a lot of frustration there because I think they was promised. But I think the quarterback play and the defensive play has really hindered this team a lot. Cleat Nippa says no. Cleat comes in. It will be cold day in hell if Coach Carver sings Rocky Top. You are 100% fact on that, Cleat. Carol comes in and says, well, maybe he will sing Rocky Top for his wife. Next comment, we've got Chase T66 says score predictions. Let's go. All right, so as we get into this, I want everybody else to put their score predictions in the comments. All right, so we can kind of bounce this off everybody. I'm going to give the floor to you, Coach Flatt. First, Cleat Nippa says Tennessee a lot, Vandy a little. Appreciate you not putting the score down, Cleat. Coach Flatt, what's your first thoughts?
I'll go 31-10 Vols.
So a push. A push.
Yeah, no, they cover. 35-10 Vols.
35-10 Vols. You say they cover. Wow. All right, elaborate.
I expect Vandy to score early in the game. I think that they'll have some success.
Hello, Natasha.
Can you? I think they'll have some success early in the game, and score. I don't think that they'll score after that. I think they'll get an early score. This will be a 7-7, maybe a 10-7 game, and I think Tennessee runs away from them after that. So I expect Tennessee's defense to play well. I expect their offense to play well, and I expect this to be a relatively easy-going victory for Tennessee, maybe after a brief first quarter.
All right. So Chase T66 comes in with the comments 1,000-0 Vols. Real quick, Chase T66, I will give you a sounding board. I can send you an invite right now to this stream. We can have a second special guest and we can get you on and let you have the floor. Let you comment. So comment in the section below if you want me to send an invite and I'll get it to you and we'll bring you on in between two whistles. He says no thanks. I would have thought this theory would have had a lot to say. Carol comes in with the comment, let's not scare Colt away from Rocky Top just yet, guys. I've got to actually get him in the stadium first.
All right, we're waiting on your score prediction.
You know, I want to come out here and I want to say Vanderbilt's going to do this. They're going to shock everybody, and Tennessee's going to be down in their sorrows, and they're going to be crying like little orange babies like they are. But I've watched every game, and Vanderbilt freaking sucks. And the only saving grace, the only hope they have is that they put everything into this game. The seniors want to go out 4-0 against Tennessee, and they get turnovers. That's the only thing. But Garantano doesn't turn the ball over. I did see where it could rain, and I do think if it rains, that actually will help Vanderbilt. But as far as scoring predictions are concerned, I'm going to say and that's how you hit the mute button, folks. I'm going to say that Tennessee 31, Vanderbilt. All right, I've had it. I can't take it anymore. They're not doing it. The upset alert is coming out, everybody. It's coming out. I think for some reason there's going to be a lot of turnovers going on. I think that the rain's going to come in. Everything's going to help out Vanderbilt Commodores. They're going to find a way to win 4 in a row. The Tennessee fandom's going to be crying home from Knoxville, and it's going to be a Vanderbilt win 24, Tennessee 23. They find a way to scrape it out. You got it out of me. Is that what you wanted, Chase? Is that what you wanted? Because you got it. What's up, Zachary? Zachary's in the live stream. Appreciate you that Zachary hit that like button. Vanderbilt 24-23. Gonna shock everything. And here's my question to you, Shay.
You don't even believe it.
Here is my question.
You don't even believe it.
Here's the question. If for whatever reason Tennessee stumbles, they've had a heck of a winning streak going on right now. The fan base is uplifted. They're rising from the ashes. Everything's great. Everything's rosy. They're on their way to the national championship in 2020. What happens? What's the level of this fan base? What's their thought? What's their thought base on this season if they come out and they slip up and they lose to Vanderbilt Saturday? What's on this? What's on the line? What's on the stage?
I think that it is more possible that Jeremy Pruitt never again loses to Vanderbilt while being the head coach at Tennessee than it is that Vanderbilt wins this game Saturday. It is more likely that Jeremy Pruitt runs the table for the remainder of his career at Tennessee against Vanderbilt than Vandy winning this one single game.
So that ain't the question, though. What if?
Then Vanderbilt will finish up a 4-8 season. Tennessee will go to a bowl game and get an extra month of practice.
So that's it. Nothing happens. No one's worried about it. No one's crying about it. No one's upset about a loss to Vanderbilt. That's exactly what you're saying. Because I think Twitter will be on an outrage if Vandy finds a way for Tennessee to lose to a 3-8 Vanderbilt football team. No one's calling for Jeremy Pruitt's head. No one in Knoxville. You know how that fan base is.
It's the best fan base in sports. And while there may be some that call for his head if they lose to Vandy,
a lot,
they will be going to a bowl game. Few thought it was possible. This is a hypothetical conversation, just as hypothetical as Tennessee winning the SEC and going to the college football playoff next year. The odds are the same in what you're talking about, and it's just not going to happen.
Well, if it does happen, I do think we can live stream StreamYard straight to YouTube from a mobile device. So we can have a quick game reaction as soon as the game ends. I'll be in Knoxville. I don't know if you're going to be there. You would think a Tennessee fan would be there, getting ready to beat Vanderbilt.
I don't drive 2.5 hours to see massacres, okay? And
all right, well, you say nothing will come of it, or it's just a loss, whatever, they'll go to the bowl. Well, if Vanderbilt does find a way to get this win Saturday, we'll have you on here, and I just want to get your first initial reactions.
No matter who wins on Saturday, we'll be here, right?
That's right. We'll be here. As long as I can do it from a mobile device. If I can't, then the reaction show will be on Sunday. Because, like I say, I'll be in Knoxville getting ready to drive home that day. So if we can do it from a mobile device, I'll try to find some lighting and we'll do it real quick and do it from there. So
I would like you to be able to do it from a mobile device from inside Neyland Stadium with Rocky Top playing in the background after change the score 56-0 Tennessee win, just to see your reaction. That's what I'll leave you with.
Derek Mason better not watch the stream if they lose 56-0. I'll say that.
Good.
All right, guys. Well, I think this has been a very good episode of Between Two Whistles. As far as we hit on the Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts, and we hit on the Tennessee Vols versus the Vanderbilt Commodores. So we got a few good games to look forward to. Real quick before we leave, we've got some football tomorrow. We got some NFL, and we've got Thanksgiving. What's your thoughts on Thanksgiving tomorrow? What's your plans? Thanksgiving 2019.
We are going to the in-laws, my wife's parents' house. Always a great time over there. Then we are going to my father-in-law's brother's house to eat lunch and dinner and watch football and hang out. So I will be watching the games, eating the turkey, watching the kids, and thinking about the beatdown that is to come on Saturday night.
You gonna gain any weight? How many pounds?
I was 171 pounds when I graduated high school, and I am 171 pounds today. So I will unlikely gain any pounds during Thanksgiving.
All righty. I will be also having Thanksgiving at the in-laws. They cook some mean turkey here, so it's going to be a good one. We'll be able to.
Question: do your in-laws season their turkey, or do they give you just plain old turkey?
Season.
Thank God.
Wait a minute. You actually eat seasoned turkey? Breaking news. See, this would what would be great if I had the premium StreamYard. I could have a breaking news, overlay come up. But for a guy who doesn't eat any sort of ketchup, mustard on French fries or any of that, you actually eat seasoned turkey.
Yep.
That's shocking. But anyways, guys, Cleet here, we got one more comment. Cleet Nippa comes in with have a happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Enjoy the family. You too, Cleet. I'm sure your Dallas Cowboys will be playing tomorrow. I know you're not a Dallas Cowboys fan, but all right, guys. So we appreciate you stopping in. As always, when you get in here, hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't, because we're going to be bringing this a lot more. We'll have the post-game reaction shows to both these games, hopefully Saturday on the college football, but if not, we'll host them on Sunday. We'll also get in here and we'll talk some Nashville Predators, and then soon we'll have some talks just NFL, anything over the NFL, and maybe we'll also get into some NHL talk. So as anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody gets really full. Hope the belts get loosened up a little bit, and I hope that everybody enjoys a little bit of family time. But from Coach Flatt, I appreciate you being on the stream. And from yours truly, the Coach Plays. Until next time, guys. Peace.